Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Chris with the C. Hope you're all doing well. Thank you very much for joining me today. Today guys, first run with the FTX Zorro. As I say, massive thanks to Model Sport for helping me get this onto the channel. I'm working in association with them. Guys, obviously yesterday we did the unboxing of the car, and one thing I will say is make sure, obviously, if this is your first RC, go through the whole car first and make sure you check over all the nuts and bolts and screws and everything, and just, you know, make sure your wheels are tight before you run it. We are going to be doing it box stock today, guys. I'm not even going to run it on 2S. I'm literally going to be running it on this Volt 1800 mAh nickel metal hydride battery. So it's going to be interesting to see what the performance like, and I think by doing it this way I'll be able to document the increases to power, battery life, longevity of the vehicle, and everything else that goes on. Now, one thing I have mentioned in the review is the controller. Now, one thing I will say, guys, is I wasn't massively impressed with how this feels, and the other thing, and I'll show you when we go down below, is this actually takes 8 AA batteries. Now, this might be a negative to some people. It was for me, really. I had to hunt around through my other controllers to find 8 batteries for this, and it does make it quite weighty as well. So a little bit of a negative, but on the other hand, I know FlySky radios are pretty good as well. They tend to have good range and good response time, and in really speaking, that's kind of what you want. The only thing I have done with this car is gone through the car and checked over the screws, nuts, bolts, tyres, as I mentioned, and I've also trimmed the vehicle up. Now, what I mean by that is, obviously, you've got your endpoints and your trim settings on your controller. Basically, just make sure that your steering's nice and straight, your endpoint for your throttle and your steering is in the correct position, and you're not thinking then further down the line that it might be wrong. But I'm going to put the head cam on now. We'll dive into the car. I'll quickly go through it and then we'll go from there. See you down below. Right guys, so FTX Zorro, we did as I mentioned, we did the unboxing. Hope you enjoyed that video as well, guys. I really like trophy trucks, and I like the way they move. Obviously, I've watched a few videos, and I've always wanted one, and the chance to obviously show you guys this was something I couldn't pass up. Now, I want to see how it performs on, obviously, the brushless system. Sorry, the brush system that comes with the car. It's a 17-turn 550 motor, as we mentioned. Alright, so it's quite a big can, should have plenty of torque, and a 60 amp ESC. Servo, I probably will change that out as well at some point, and as I mentioned, we're going to be using this Volt 1800 mAh. Now, so all this, as you see, is what you would get with the car when you purchase it. I just want to see what it's like. Obviously, I'll give you guys an idea. I don't think this is going to break any sound barriers or records for the fastest RC car or anything like that, but as you know, what we do on the channel is upgrade everything. All right, so I fully intend on upgrading this car and making it as quick as I can. As you can see, that was the beep then for the ESC. Turn this on. As you can see, you got lights, so you've got your steering endpoint, your throttle endpoint, and your trim as well. Steering trim, throttle trim, and steering what's the word for it? I can't think of it now. I just said it. Endpoint. Dual rate. There you go. Flipping heck, I couldn't remember for the life of me then. Reverse normal, reverse normal. As you can see. So we got steering. What I have done is, as I mentioned, I've gone through the car, checked over all the screws and everything to see what it's like. I want to thank Model Sport, obviously, for helping me get this to the channel as well. They've been really helpful. They even posted out the video on their Facebook page today, you guys, of the unboxing, so I want to thank them for that. What I will say is, it's a funny old thing with this car. I mean, when you consider the cost of, let's say, a WL Toys or something like that, you know, something from AliExpress, something that seems accessible, and then you compare this, and what you're actually getting is a better made quality car. Now, disregarding the electrics, oops, sorry, I'm zooming you in and out by here, I think. Disregarding the electrics, all right, because obviously, as I say, this is just a basic setup, but what you are getting is just a fully better quality of RC car, guys. So what we're going to do now is walk over to this area. We're back in Bromwith today. This area, as you've seen last time, this is somewhere that we ran with a mad van the other day. So yeah, let's give it its first run. Like I say, quite unsure of how this is going to go. As I say, it is a brush motor. But one thing I did notice is the drivetrain seems quite tight. Now I can... Yeah, it is a slow one, I will say that. It does seem to want to roll over a lot as well, doesn't it? Suspension travels nice, mine. Let's bring it back. Let me just check that. So as I say, what's this now? Steering. So that's your steering. So the motor seems like it's got plenty of torque. Brakes are relatively sharp. So it's not the fastest thing I've ever used, but bearing in mind, as I say, this is only on nickel metal hydride, guys, as well. So 2S is going to be a lot more punchy than this for a start. Bring it back down to us. Definitely going to recommend you get a 2S battery for this as well, mine, because there's not a lot of punch happening here at all, and I don't think this 1800 mAh battery is going to last very long at all. What's happened here? We've got something caught underneath. Let's have a look. Let's have a little look. I mean, oh, there you go. That would slow it down, definitely. Oh, look at all that mud. Yeah, it's quite fun. Love the way it leans into corners and stuff, mine. The tyre slide. I know I can make this a lot faster. Bring it back to me. Nearly lost control of it there. So the front end seems quite soft and the back end seems quite tough. So I might loosen up put some thicker shock fluid in the front maybe. And actually using the handset's not too bad actually, to be honest with you. I'm quite surprised. And already that nickel metal hydride seems like it's on its way out. That's it, guys. That is it. There you go, and we're at low voltage. So don't expect too much with this nickel metal hydride battery. But again, it's a good basis, this car. I'm going to wear this out completely. Let's go back over to the table, shall we, and we'll talk about it. And that's how dead the battery is, guys. Won't go over the grass. So, walking back, how do I feel about it? Well, there's a few things I've noticed. The drivetrain seems really tight. So whether that'll actually start loosening up over time, I'm not sure. Let's just have a look underneath the body, shall we? So let's turn this off. I would definitely recommend this for a child, alright, because you're not gonna go hurting them or anything like that. I don't think you can get that sort of speed up to actually hurt them. And it's going to be a good car to learn RC with, definitely. Or someone just getting into it. Look at all that dirt. There you go. Right, okay. Battery's kind of warm. ESC, motor. Ooh, no, that motor is definitely warm. See, that's unusual. And then close inspection here, guys. See where the fan is? What they've actually done is put the label for the motor over the actual cooling fan. Because with brush motors you've got an internal fan, and obviously as that spins it's meant to cool down the armature inside. But it looks like they've actually covered that up. Someone having a bad day in the factory, I think. Let's turn this off. Right, drive chain I'm going to work on to see if I can loosen it up a bit, because it does seem a little bit tight. I'm going to check over the diffs, I think, and just see kind of what sort of grease they've got inside, and can I do with a bit more. Right, the way the car drives, quite fun. It was very, very lackadaisy turning in on the front end, so I think maybe I'll put some thicker shock fluid in the front just to kind of counteract with that. It's got great potential. It definitely has got great potential to be a lot of fun, this. Yes, it's not quick out the box, but for something for a bit of fun, definitely recommend 2S lipo. Don't even think about it. And I would also probably change over these connectors to, even if it's just the Dean's, these Tamiya T plugs, in my opinion, are not that good at all. As you can see, you are going to be cleaning the body out. Obviously where the fenders, obviously the wheels kicking up the mud and everything, but generally it's not a bad vehicle, this. I've got loads more planned for this car. One thing I will say, guys, before you take it out, there is 2 screws holding the rear drive shaft in and this front drive shaft. Now the front drive shaft, it looks like I don't know whether that's a centre diff or a spur gear. I've got a feeling it's a spur gear. But where the drive shaft comes off, you've got 2 2mm hex screws holding them onto the shaft where the axles are. Make sure you tighten those before you go out, because I have heard some people mentioning that these come off. Right, I'm going to put the head cam down a sec and then I'll talk to you up top. Right guys, so what do you reckon? FTX Zorro brushed. I really like it. There are a few caveats to it. Obviously, there are a couple of things to point out, and I will say the battery pack is definitely one of them. I think the nickel metal hydride battery, you're going to be forever charging this battery, because obviously the milliamp hour of the battery, it's not that big, so runtime might be an issue for some people. What I would say, it would be nice if FTX actually included a lipo battery with this car as well. I mean, obviously price point, we know why they've included nickel metal hydride, but at the end of the day guys, we do live in an era of sort of lipo batteries, and lipo is king, definitely, in my opinion. There are a few people who still like running them, but me personally, I actually prefer 2-cell lipo, especially in something like this. 3-cell lipo in other cars. One thing I will say, the controller, as much as I had my concerns about the controller, yes, it is big and bulky. I'm not really a massive fan of the blue accent around it. I do like the steering wheel on it though. The steering wheel, actually, to be honest with you, I was quite chuffed with. Very grippy, easy to use, and it's very much like the FTX DR8, the remote, the FlySky remote that came with that. I think it's called the GT4, GT5 possibly. Maybe it wasn't, I don't know, or GT2, maybe, I don't know. I'll have to check back on that one. As for the actual car itself, tyres, really nice. There was plenty of grip with the tyres, no issues at all. In fact, too much at some point, as you noticed at the start of the video. It kept on tumbling over itself. Suspension, something I'm going to work on. The front end seems a little bit light for me. When we were kind of turning into a corner, the car wanted to kind of come over on itself, so maybe a bit more preload and maybe some thicker shock oil. I want to point out another thing. Massive thank you to RCR. Guys, in the unboxing video I mentioned that it was 48 pitch gearing. It's not actually, it's 0.6 mod gearing. So, you know, thank you Roo for obviously pointing that out. And guys, search him up if you're looking for someone who's into the FTX, the Outlaw platform. He's got plenty of videos up for that, Mad Van, and also a few crawlers like the Mauler and stuff like that. What else? 550 motor, did get quite hot. It is what it is. It's a 550 brush motor. They do tend to run warm. I think when we put a brushless system into this car, it's really going to wake it up quite a fair bit. It's going to be interesting working on this. I know there's loads of upgrades for this vehicle, chassis, steering components, obviously your drivetrain, your metal drivetrain. I'm going to work through the car bit by bit, just as we normally do on the channel, guys. Basically upgrade everything and make it awesome. Now, body shell, as you can see, you are going to be cleaning the inside out a little bit. Obviously that's because the over fenders to do with the wheels, or any muck is going to flick up inside, but the good thing is that's easy enough to clean off. The price point, $139.99. Do I think it's worth it? Yes, I do. And the reason behind which is the quality of the plastics and the components that come with the vehicle. Now, the electronics, me personally, I would prefer to have a brushless system in the car. There is a brushless version of this vehicle, and it's a different chassis actually. But from a standpoint of someone who's coming into the hobby, maybe this is going to be a little bit easier to deal with. The other thing is, it is an easy upgrade for upgrading things like motors, batteries, stuff like that. So, and so what I'm going to say, guys, is I'm not going to keep babbling on. Massive thank you to Models for allowing me to work with them on this series to do with the FTX, not DR8, sorry, the Zorro, and stay safe, and basically keep liking, keep sharing, keep subscribing. All the notifications I'm getting from you guys interacting with me really does cheer me up, so thank you very much for that. And make sure you hit the notification bell if you want to be alerted for new content coming up on the channel. I've got loads more planned and I don't intend to stop anytime soon. So massive thank you to you all. As I say, check the box for more videos. Stay safe.